morning, guys. Right, it's not that chilly in here this morning. Actually, I'm quite pleasantly warm. Wrapped up in God knows how many layers, but you know, hands aren't freezing. But I've got to get them in the filler. Decided I wanted more craters over the weekend. We've got this side to finish up fillering today, so let's get cracked on, eh? Okay, guys, I've got all this side blended in. It's looking good, to be perfectly honest. I'm quite happy with it. It's a little patchy in places, but we'll touch that up when we put the rubble and all the other stuff on. As well as that, yeah, I've gone round all the sides of the boards and all the edges and sort of fillered and smoothed everything off, ready for sanding, yeah, because we're getting to that stage where we're going to be putting the texture down and sealing it off, ready for painting soon. Yeah, so that needed doing. On top of that, what else have we done? Oh yeah, we've done the craters, as you can see. Yeah, now I've used filler, I've built up the rims. I'm only interested in getting the sort of rim height at this point. Yeah, there's no point trying to blend them in or make them look funky just yet. Yeah, because the filler's too soft. So, got the rims in, I'll let that dry overnight, yeah, and then when I come in and then we've got to cover all this with filler, I'll blend them all in to make them look more realistic rather than like rings, if you know what I mean. So, we've done that. Right, what we're doing next. Next job, obviously we've got to coat this with filler. Yeah, we've got to blend in the craters. Yeah, we've got to start putting our tank traps down. We've got to start putting our large rocks down. Yeah, all ready for the final gritting stage. Yeah, which is pretty close. So, let's crack on with that, eh? Right guys, disaster struck. Okay, when I was doing the craters with the heat gun, I accidentally caught the edge of the, expanded polystyrene, yeah, and it creeped back just a little, but enough that when the boards were put together, there was a gap. Now I did try filling this with filler, okay, but it's so cold in here that it's just not set in, which means to actually filler it, wait for it all dry, sand it out, yeah, it would be a nightmare job. So, yeah, quick fix. I cut out the damaged bit, I recut some new siding of polystyrene that will fit in nicely. Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to grit that down, yeah, wait till it's fixed and then just sand it off and it should be perfectly fine. So that's the quick fix, so that's one of the jobs I've got to do. Other jobs is we've got to blend in the craters, start putting down the tank traps, start putting down the sandbagging placements and do all that sort of funky stuff. So let's get cracked on. Right guys, so as you saw in the pics, yeah, I'd put my piece in, I've roughly shaped it down with a blade, yeah, and we've used grip adhesive just to smooth everything out. Yeah, I'm just going to let this grip, it's near perfect, it just needs a very quick sand, yeah, but easily fixed. I really should have done this in the first place. Right, cracking on, yeah, now while we're waiting for all this to fix, our job is to start fixing bunkers, tank traps and all that sort of palaver in place. So, I'm going to crack on with that. Right guys, sandbags are in, yeah, I've got them there, there and there, yeah, we've put the tank traps in, which you can see the snaking line there. It's still modular, so it doesn't matter how you swap the boards out, they still work. I've left a gap, and that was purpose because I wanted a gap so tanks can actually move on from the backboard and move on to the beach, albeit through rough terrain. Yeah, it's really starting to come together now. Yeah, I can already see Helga hiding in there with the fallen Madonna with the big boobies. And Gruber trying to get over the tank traps in his little tank and run away from the Allies. No, that's the Italian guy, isn't it? Do you get the reference, guys? Anyway, right, moving on. What have I got to do? Well, also, yeah, very quickly, is this worked out that well as a fix that I did it on the other side, even though it wasn't so bad on the other side. It was just a quicker fix. So that'll be all tidied up, smoothed off and done by end of play today. Yeah, my next job is I've got to start putting in the trenches. I don't even know if... Yeah, you can see me, can't you? Hello? Yeah, I've got to start putting in the, the sort of corrugated iron for the trenches. So, here are some pics of what I've done so far, and I'll come back once I've got the trenches in and we're ready to do some fillering. Right guys, I've done all the trench works for the bunkers now. They've all been done with corrugated card and bamboo skewers and they're looking quite spanking. I've got to wait till tomorrow when the grip adhesives and the PVA's all set before I dress the top with sandbags. That'll be a bit of sculpting that I can do in the warm, so I'm pretty chuffed about that. Yeah, it's looking all right. The last job I need to do now is just start trimming up those edges, start filling some more gaps and that sort of stuff, and start smoothing things off and get it so it's sitting really nice when it's pushed up together. Yeah, so Mel's got to go get his hands in some, into some filling. He's not a happy boy. I'm even wearing my hat. There's rumours of a space heater. I need to find it. Right guys, quick update on where I fixed it up. As you can see, yeah, these have all been glued in, they've been they've been cut down, they've been smoothed down. I've still got to blend them in, but I need them to fix first, so that'll be a job for tomorrow. But if you see, yeah, where I had that problem before, yeah. So remember with terrain building, yeah, it doesn't matter how bad you screw up, as long as you don't screw up on the very last stage, there's a way of fixing it. Let's hope I don't screw up on the very last stage, eh? Right, filler time. Right guys, that's all the craters done now, so they've all been blended in so they look a little bit smoother, etc. Yeah, plus we've blended in the sandbags, yeah, we've fixed that edge, yeah, we've done the trench works. What else have we done? We've done tons. We put in the tank traps across the back and the sandbags. It's been busy. Right, next stage with it is I've got to let it dry, obviously, so the craters can settle and I can finish touching in these areas which I sort of carved and put new pieces in. Then it's tomorrow, it's sanding and start to put the rocks down ready for the final sand. Yeah, by sand I don't mean sanding with sandpaper, I mean sand going down on it for the beach. I'm glad to get this stage done. Right. Back in again. Right. Yeah, this isn't on. Okay, I've come in and my filler from yesterday is still soft. Yeah, and I'm not a happy chappy. Okay, what does this mean, right? Well, basically, it's Thursday now. The idea was this should be dry so I can put the rocks on so I can grit it tomorrow, Friday, and leave it to dry over the weekend. Now, if I can't grit it tomorrow and leave it dry over the weekend, that means I've got to grit it on Monday. Yeah, which means I need to leave it for a day. I've then got to seal it. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, and my long drying times aren't at the weekend as I'd planned. Yeah, they're now in the next week. Mel is not a happy chappy. I've had a word. We're having a meeting because, you know what I mean? This is pushing this project back now. I reckon if I can get it somewhere warm, we can claim the drying time back when when you know we get to the painting stage and that sort of stuff. Yeah, but even so, yeah, Mark, I know you're watching this. Don't worry. Yeah, leave it with me. But anyway, right. That being said, ironically, what we've got to do today is we've got to get a bit more filler on it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we then got to get the big rocks on, I want to get the farmhouses on, I want to get the sandbags on, and I want to get it all prepped. If it dries enough, yeah, that it's firm enough to put PVA on, we'll get the grit on tomorrow and just, you know, I figure it's better drying over the weekend a little bit wetter than having to come in and lose next week. You know what I mean? I mean, next week is very much going to be layers of paint left to dry anyway, yeah, so I could really do with cutting that time back. Hey ho, let's go. Right guys, that's it all smoothed over. Yeah, we've done the protective coating on the expanded polystyrene, we've blended in all the edges, we've added undulation to the flatter areas, and it is looking good. The next stage is a little bit of sculpting, which means I get to head off into the wall. I've got to do the sandbags for the bunkers. Once that's done, we're back down, add the rocks on. Now, in other news, we've had a chat. Yeah. Spaces have been identified that are much smaller, easier to heat, better lit, less echo. They're having a chat in the next management meeting, which I imagine is going to be tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully by Monday I should have moved into a space where I can dry it, I can play catch up. Mark, we're good. And I'm going to be warm, really warm, properly. Oh, guys. Anyway, right, I've got sandbags to make. I'll see you in a minute. Right guys, sandbags are in as you've seen, yeah, and they are looking good. They still need a little touching up and dressing and that sort of stuff. They're a bit plain Jane at the minute, but you know, once we get the rocks on and that sort of stuff, it'll be absolutely fine. Now my next job is big rocks, okay, and for that, yeah, I'm going for the specialist modelling rocks that I got from my garden. Yeah, they've been washed, they've been dried. Yeah, I know it seems crazy using big rocks, but it's a lot easier than casting these up, making moulds. Yeah, and with regards to the weight, well, these are already two-man lift boards. Well, one of them is anyway. Yeah. Now, I did get a bit of a question with regards to how much materials-wise this build has cost so far. So, quick run through. It's sitting on a £22 board of MDF. There are 4 sheets of XPS polystyrene at £15 each. That's £60. That's £82. There's probably only about £4 or £5 worth of expanded polystyrene on it, which takes it up to what? We're on 82 with that, plus that £5 for the for the expanded. That's 87. There is roughly about 12, £13 worth of casting powder making up the rock faces, so that's up to £100. And there's about we're probably getting close. We've got probably about 4 kilos of filler on it at the minute, so we're probably around let's say another tenner for that, a little bit more, 11. So £111 worth of materials, and that's without counting the warlord stuff, which are the bunkers and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, oh, and about a quid's worth of PVA. Oh yeah, and about a tenner's worth of grip fill by the time I finish this next bit. So what's that? 120 quid-ish, roughly? Yeah, I reckon when I quoted the job, it was £200 for materials, and I reckon we're pretty much going to hit on the nail. Do you know what I mean? By the time we've bubble wrapped it up and all that sort of stuff. Strange for me to get a quote right. Well, materials anyway. Time? That's another adventure. Right, let's get these rocks on. Grit fill time, big rocks, and then tomorrow, fingers crossed, we come in and we gritting and graveling. Yes, it's dark in here. I've come in and some of the lights were off, so the shadows it's thrown on the board are here. Here's some pics and I'll go switch the lights on. Okay, not the best photos, light and everything like that, but you should get a better idea of the rocks and everything like that. Yeah, I'm really liking this board. Okay, still facing challenges with the filler. Yeah, we knew this was going to happen, but we had the chat yesterday. Yeah, we're looking at rooms now, and I should be warm. Okay, so big smile on Mel's face. With regards to the time lost, I've given it some thought now. Normally when you grit tables, what you do is you slap PVA down, you put your grit down, yeah, you leave it a day or two to dry, and then you give it a good soaking with watered down PVA, yeah, and then leave it a day or two to dry to set it, yeah. To drag the time back, there's a different way, yeah. What you can do is you can apply thin layers of PVA, yeah, put your grit down, then pretty much almost immediately, yeah, start spraying it with watered down PVA, thin coats through an airbrush. Yeah, and by doing it that way, yeah, there's a lot less water content, yeah, and in a warmer environment that will dry a lot quicker. Yeah, and by doing it that way, and yeah, multiple thin layers, yeah, it's more work for me, yeah, but I reckon I can drag back 2 or 3 days drying time from that. Okay, if I also mix PVA into the base coat for the paint, yeah, I can drag it back even further. You know what I mean? So I'm quite happy. Yeah. So in fact, yeah, Mel's quite a happy bunny right now. Yeah, things are looking promising, and you know, a lot better than I was yesterday. You know what I mean? Right. They normally say that less is more. Now, as you can see, yeah, I really like the rocks, and less isn't more. Yeah. More is more. So my battle plan for today, since I'm going to be leaving the filler over the weekend to dry to get a really solid, yeah, I don't want to rush it and mess it up, you know what I mean? Yeah, and I've got a solution for next week, and I'm in a warmer place, so we're good. So I'm just going to use a couple of hours today, get some more rocks on it, get some smaller grit on it, ready for gritting next week, yeah? Right, that's all the rocky rocks done. And before you get the final photos, yeah, let's just wind up this week. And it has been a great week. I've just literally just had some great news just as I'm sort of wrapping things up. Right, first off, yeah, obviously, yeah, this is getting there. It's going up to Martin's store up in Southport. The store's looking amazing, yeah. There's a link at the end of the video. Go check out his channel, yeah. It's going brilliant for Martin. I'm really chuffed for him. Obviously, like, you know, share, any comments, anything like that, yeah, in the comments, you want to talk to me. Yeah, also, you know, guys, I always do the Patreon thing. Listen, if you really do like these videos, yeah, consider the $1 pledge. You know what I mean? It's $1 a month, but it all adds up to make a difference, and it gives me the time to sort of film these, to edit them, low pressure, get the camera kits. I'm looking at improving my camera kits so I can get better photos for you. Yeah? Now, one final bit of news. Yeah, come check this out. We're going to go hands-free. Oh, grab it, folks. Right. Let me just... Yeah, okay, right. So, there's the table. Yeah, this is where I've been working. Yeah? And we know it's been cold. Yeah, they've had a chat. And on Sunday, I'm coming in, yeah, to help them clear out this room. Okay? So... this is going to be my new home. This is where the table's moving to, and it's going to be heatable. There's light in there. It's a lot better. So, guys, it's been a good week. A little behind with the board, but I can play catch up in a warm environment, so I'm not too worried about that. But overall, Mel is a happy man. Right, guys, a bit of a long one, this one, because we've talked a lot, haven't we? Right. I'll leave you to it. Here are the photos, and make sure you check out Martin's store. And really, guys, seriously, yeah, consider the Patreon thing. It really does help. Yeah, especially because I'm going to need to buy a heater. I need a heater. Yeah, I need a heater. We'll sort it. Anyway, photos.